There. Okay. I would just hate for you to.
Thank you so much. So, cut. However we do that. Okay. So, and I'm just going to start with the kind of the activity, introducing the
Okay.
activity
Yeah.
at the same time. I should have let y'all know that. So, thank you again for coming with me today. Just a little bit about what we're going to be doing today and the activities we're going to complete. Um, it is called the ABC model. It's going to learn us about how our beliefs uh, help our outcomes become a little bit more better to handle a lot of times. There's a thing called an activating event, which the A stands for. There's beliefs or the way we think about the event, and that's what the B stands for. And then there's a C, the emotional consequence. And there's also physical consequences and stuff like that too, behavioral. So just be aware of that. So I have some notes here. So if you see me looking at you, don't worry about me. Don't think I'm not paying attention to y'all. I'm just looking at my little notes here. Um, so with the activating event, it could be something as small as walking down the road and noticing a friend, and that friend didn't wave at you, but clearly they should have saw you because you saw them. So how did that make you think or feel about that situation? You could have thought, they didn't like me no more. They don't want to talk to me anymore. What is going on here? I'm just gonna just ignore it and I'm gonna go to drinking. They don't want to talk to me anymore. There's no reason for me to even try. So, and that made you go to drinking, which is the consequence. And being negative self-talk, telling yourself you're not worth having that friend anymore. So now we need to learn how to discuss that and go on to be if that was a helpful thought or not. And if that thought was not helpful, should we change that thought? And how do we change that thought? And then we'll go on and talk about another one, which is went to D, that was the dispute. And then we'll go to E on how to fix that consequence or make an effect to the consequence and then challenging that defeating belief. So the activity I want us each to participate in is the ABC model and writing our own activating event, writing our belief about that event, and then we're going to write the consequence about that event. And the consequences, I also have wrote down here, the consequences don't just have to be an emotional consequence. It can be behaviors or physical sensations. Do y'all understand, like you can feel stuff in your bodies, like when you're anxious or nervous or depressed? Okay, so those are the physical sensations. Be aware of those as well when you're writing this up. So I just simply wrote out something for us to kind of show y'all what I'm going to want y'all to do. And so let's see, can y'all see that? No, I got my screen blurred, but I just wrote on a piece of paper and I put A and then B and then C. And I wrote enough room so I could write whatever I needed to, however big or little I wanted to. Okay. Can y'all do that for me? I didn't ask y'all to get some pen and paper. It could be crayon, it could be marker, whatever you got. It could be a little bit note as long as you can write on it. So the first one's going to be the activating event. What is something that upset you? What is something that may upset you if it happened? And it can be something internally that is real or expected, or it could be external, which is real or expected. Internal, that is like an image or a memory that triggers something, some kind of feeling or belief. Have we got our activating event? Everybody understand that? Head shakes, thumbs up, something.
Can you explain that just
No?
one more time?
Absolutely. The activating event. It is an event that makes you feel uncomfortable or maybe upset, depressed. So, and there's two different ones. It's like a trigger. Ever heard of a trigger?
Mm-hmm.
Something that makes you feel out of the ordinary or upset. Miss Andrea, do you got it? Okay, I saw your head while ago, so I was just making sure we're all together here. So, and those feelings, those triggers, they can be something real. They can be something in the future. They could be something imaginary in your head or an image in your head, or they could be a memory in your head. So, are we all caught up on that? We're still right. Good deal.
Yep.
So now we're going to take the B and go to the beliefs. What did we think about that situation? Was I happy about that situation that the person didn't wave to me? Or in this situation, I was upset and I said I didn't deserve to have their friendship. So I, had the consequence after that. So what was your belief about the situation you're writing about or your triggered event? Okay. Thumbs up when everybody's done with the beliefs about your triggered event. All right, now we are on the consequences or the behaviors of that event. Whether that consequence to you was an emotion, a behavior, a physical sensation, or all three. Do we all understand what we're writing down now?
Could you repeat those again, please?
Yes. Some consequences that could be the result of these beliefs and trigger an event would be your emotional response, your behavioral response, like how you outwardly behave, or your physical sensations, like how you feel inside of your body that happened to you. And just a thumbs up whenever y'all are ready. Alrighty. I believe I've had everybody now. Anybody still working on it? Okay, Miss Andrea. All right. So we're going to move on, and what we can talk on it. If anybody's still working on it, then they can continue to work on it as we're kind of addressing everybody else that's done. So no problems if you are. We're going to stay right here on the A, B, and C part of it before we move on to the D and E. So we have an activating event. Would anybody like to share their activating event or? Okay, Miss Genesis.
Yes. So my activating event is I just want to start off by saying that I am an artist. I'm a painter, and so when I'm painting and the colors don't look on my canvas how they do in my brain and how I pictured it, um, I think that's my trigger because I have a vision for what I want it to look like and the exact color. And if it's off by like a smick of light, then it's no longer what I pictured.
Okay.
And then do we go down all the way down, A, B, and C?
Let's just stick with A now. Anybody else
Okay.
want to say their activating event or their trigger, something that happened to them?
I think Andrea.
You think you're good?
Andrea.
Andrea, sorry, I didn't even see her. I think I was writing. I do apologize. Thank you, Miss Christina. Andrea, I think I saw Melanie's hand up earlier too. Sorry, the way I'm seeing it, I think you're behind me. So whichever wants to go first.
Andrea, you can go ahead.
So, I wrote down here, my ending. I remembered this argument that I had with my partner about work and my work schedule. And I feel frustrated and overwhelmed because I have been doing extra hours, which is leaving less time for my family. And my partner just expresses that he feels neglected and that I always prioritize work.
Ah. Miss Melanie, what is your activating event?
My activating event is having a falling out with a friend and other friends only getting one side of the story before hearing both sides. So feeling unheard.
All right. Miss Michaela, would you like to
Sure.
share?
This past week, another mother yelled at my daughter while we were at the park.
Hmm.
Is my activating event.
And last but not least, Miss
My
Christina.
activating event is pretty much any social situation where it requires interaction between people, because I have a hard time opening up and sharing, and I'm scared of rejection. So,
Okay, okay. These are some good events to talk about. I have, not having the exact colors that you want on there. I can see how that's frustrating. We got the argument with your partner and feeling overwhelmed there. Friends not hearing you out completely. Somebody yelling at your child. And then social situations. So many people around sometimes can be overwhelming as well. So, then we go into our beliefs. What do we think about this situation? And how we actually process that information in our brains. So as we do go down through there, we'll learn how our rules affect how our thoughts are and how those triggers actually affect us. So now let's just kind of go through and talk a little bit about those beliefs that we have. I kind of just want to go in order, if as long as I remember. Please forgive me if I don't have you in the correct order. When Miss Genesis, right, with the colors and the painting and all that, and having that perfectly the way you need to have it to get your vision out. So, what do you tell yourself when that happens?
I believe that my painting is no longer good and that it's trash. I need to throw it away. That I'm no longer as good as I used to be painting and I have no creative like spark anymore.
Hmm. Um, what does what do you think about that, Melanie? Can you express what you just heard from her and how that resonates with you?
It's sad to hear that Genesis doesn't have that spark anymore. It sounds like being an artist is her strong point, and not many people can be artistic, in that way. So I just think if she can find her spark in it, maybe she'll gain the love back, for being artistic.
Absolutely. Anybody else have any good points like that they want to share? Or any points that any feelings they have on the situation?
It was hard to hear Genesis uh, feel and think so negatively about herself through her art.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like maybe she was blaming her art for how she feels inwardly about something, maybe.
Hmm. Could be. Anybody else? How does that feel, Genesis, with the feedback coming back to you from the other participants in the group?
I think that maybe Michaela does have a point that because my only outlet for my emotions and is through my creativity, maybe the colors not coming together may not have to do anything with the colors and just with my life sometimes not being exactly how I want it or where I want it to be. So I think she is right that sometimes my paintings aren't bad, it's just what I'm currently going through is, and I release it through my art.
Hmm. Okay. Um, let's go on down. Let's see. Someone yelled at my daughter. Was that Miss Christine?
Michaela.
That was
Michaela. Miss
me.
Michaela. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So, how did that situation affect you and just feel overall about the situation and react, or not react, but your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I think writing these down made me feel a lot better about the situation. I
Mm-hmm.
wrote that she had no right to yell at my daughter, and she did it for no reason, in my opinion. I was really upset about it. I felt really embarrassed, and I felt a lot of hatred in my heart.
Hmm.
Those are my beliefs of the situation.
Wow, pretty strong feeling. Anybody ever felt that kind of strong feeling before? You know, I have people close to me, and if somebody yells at them, nope,
Yeah, that's
shut them
exactly how
down.
I felt. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly how I felt.
I find it interesting that you said it made you feel embarrassed. What in particular made you feel embarrassed?
I think it was just, at the park, there's a whole bunch of other families, there's a whole bunch of other kids, and it was just kind of one of those moments of just kind of like you stop everything. And I don't know, I felt embarrassed that all the attention was now drawn to me, my daughter, and this woman who's yelling at my daughter. I think just embarrassment kind of flushed over
Mm-hmm.
because
I
of all of
see.
that attention, that unnecessary attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Negative attention.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I bet it must have been really hard. I don't have any kids, but I have a dog, and if anybody even looks at my dog sideways, I already get so defensive and protective.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely would have affected me as well because you're protecting your kid the same way I would protect my dog, and nobody has the right to ever parent your kid or discipline them or even scream at them.
Thank you. I feel that makes that I'm very reassured from all of you guys. Thanks, Genesis and Christina.
I appreciate that too. That was very kind of each of y'all to share and give some feedback. Um, Not like anything is lesser than anyone else, but it seems like we can all relate just a little bit about how things trigger us and then how things make us believe and feel. We have certain ways that we can either think are positive or negative. Sometimes they can make us feel depressed, sad, happy, grateful, different emotions. So, but how do we deal with those thoughts and behaviors? So Miss Michaela, when
Yeah.
she yelled at your daughter, what did you do after that? How
I
did
just
you
didn't even
react?
the way I didn't even I don't think my reaction was one that I don't know. I don't remember even speaking to the woman. I just grabbed my daughter and we started walking away. Just wanted to get out of that situation in a general sense. Um, so I didn't react, but I feel like I should have. I feel like I should have said something or reacted some sort of way. And that happens often where something will happen and I want to react, but I think of my reaction after the fact instead of, I guess, doing
Yes.
it then and there, which is probably a good thing, but it feels wrong. I feel like I should have said something to this woman.
Well, think about, has anybody else been brave like that? To me, that was brave. So has anybody else felt brave like that and had to stand up, for their loved one, like the dog? I mean, shoot, they can protect themselves just like the little children can. So
Right.
maybe broke out and just said, no, I can't do that for the sake of my family member, or my loved one. Anybody else had that experience where they just said, no, I'm just walking away? Or another experience.
Yeah, I would say it's road rage incidents where you just never know what the other person has going on. So I found myself in a situation where I wasn't going fast enough and I could have looked over, gave them all the hand gestures, cussed them out or whatever, but instead I just moved out of the way and just continued on with my journey. I was just thinking the whole time of how I saw on the news where someone had pulled out a gun because they got that upset on the road, and all of that just crossed my mind. So I just didn't want to run into a situation like that.
Yes, it sounds like you're trying to think of how emotionally you would feel if since that happened, and scared. I'm sure you was very scared, and how to deal with that effectively and helpfully for you. You could have stopped driving or something more severe or not wanted to get, back out there, but so good. I'm glad you did. So to wrap it up, we have talked about the activating event, which is like a trigger, something that makes us feel a certain way and think a certain way. And then we act a certain way, whether that way is helpful to us in our lives or not. That is on our beliefs and how we think and feel about the situation and the rules that we have taught ourselves to live. So to change those activating events that are unhelpful to us, we need to change the way we think and feel and the rules that we have in our lives. So in the situation of walking away, was that helpful for you, Miss Michaela?
I think in the long run it was. It's better to just turn away and walk away from that. I think if I were to react in any other way, it probably would have led to something worse, of course. So yeah, I would say that it benefited me more than it harmed me.
Okay. All right. And what about the embarrassment? Was it long lasting?
It's still dwelling with me a little bit. I'm still really embarrassed. I think like I don't want to go back to that park, I guess in fear that she'll be there and try to start something up again. But it's my daughter's favorite park, so I feel like I can't hold on to that for too long.
Oh, can anybody tell her a good way to think about that situation and reframe or restate um, to get her to thinking better about going back to the park so her daughter can enjoy it still?
I think that given that you didn't react or do anything offensive, if you're gonna face this person again, like, I don't know, if I was her, I would respect you. So um, I think that you can be encouraged by that and know that you did the right thing, and um, hopefully when she sees you again, if she sees you again, she'll have some respect for you.
Thank you, Christina. That makes me feel a lot better about the situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Miss Melanie, any good criticism you could give for Miss Michaela and getting over your fear of saying get back on the horse that they used to say, you get injured, you got to get back on it to face your fear.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say her walking away, I mean, it was in the midst of the moment. So I would say go give it a shot. Try it again and just don't leave your daughter out of your sight and
That's for sure.
stay far away from that person if you do run into them again.
Awesome.
Thank you, Melanie.
Thank each and every one. Yes, Miss Andrea, it looked like you was about to speak. No? Okay.
Your time.
Okay. So let's wrap up. Is there anything at the end that anybody wanted to share that they learned from the situation of knowing about how your thoughts and triggers work together and can come out to a better consequence?
Yes. I think that from talking about what I experienced, I guess with painting, I thought it was just black and white or just like exactly what you see, that the paintings just didn't come together the way I wanted it to, so they were bad. But through this group session, I was able to better understand that it may not have a lot to do with the painting, but with my inner emotions, and that my painting is my creative outlet, but it also is my release of my emotions or what may be going on in my life. So sometimes when something isn't going wrong, I should, instead of jumping to a conclusion that it's something really simple, maybe sit down and kind of ask myself what really is going on so that I can have better consequences to my reality.
Right. Some good thoughts there, Miss Genesis. Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Anybody else want to share or any thoughts on what Genesis just stated?
I
I
liked.
know one takeaway I could take about today's session is I learned about the ABC model and how that breaks down the situations I've been having and that relates to stress and all those conflicts I've been having with my partner. I definitely was able to recognize my beliefs about the threats and then observing how those beliefs led to my consequences. And that way now I'm challenging my beliefs so I can improve either emotional reactions and then just the way I communicate with my partner. So definitely, so that way there won't be as any more tension as there is right now.
Awesome. Good job. Good inner thoughts there and thinking about how, those beliefs can trigger or can help your triggers and be a better consequence. So I appreciate every one of y'all's input today. Thank y'all for sharing as much as y'all did. I appreciate that. I will see y'all next week. And before we end, make sure everybody takes a breath because we had some great work today and we all deserve a deep, deep breath and then a good pat on the back. Thank you, ladies, and we will see you this time next week.